What up, say?
One time for the hometown, I got love for it, it's real. Yeah. 2 times for the haters, man, cause I notice how this shit feel. 3 times for my family, dog, cause this shit done paid our bills.
Welcome back, guys, to the Matt Cutrer Report. This is, of course, Matt Cutrer, and I have a very special guest today. This is Kelly Self. We're going to talk about, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
It's going to be really cool, I think. We have some really cool stuff to tell you guys. I'm pretty excited. But first, let's read a word from our sponsor. So, this is, of course, Holscher Real Estate, our premium sponsor. So, whether you're looking to buy or sell, Holscher Ranch Group has you covered. With a dedicated team and a passion for Texas land, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Visit HolscherRanchGroup.com or call 325-899-1403 to get started. Holscher Ranch Group, making land ownership dreams come true 1 acre at a time. All right, let's do it.
You think they'd sell me 1 acre?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
A single acre, maybe. So tell us real quick. I want to know a little bit, because I don't know this. I want to know a little bit about your background. Tell me where you were born and raised, first of all.
Okay. First off, born and raised right here in San Angelo.
Nice.
Yep. The old Shannon Hospital, which is now the parking lot.
It is?
Yeah, the original building. They
I didn't know that.
blew it up back in the 80s and built a new building across the street.
Okay.
Took over. Yep. Went to Central. All that good stuff.
Nice.
After high school, I kind of floated around for a minute, a short minute, and then I joined the military.
Nice.
Went in the Navy, worked on F-18s for a while.
Whoa.
I was attached to a couple of different aircraft carriers.
Okay.
Eisenhower and Washington.
Wow.
Got out for a little bit. Tried to go to college for a while, but I was raising kids. So it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
Went back to work and ended up back in the Army for a little bit after that.
So you went to the Army after the Navy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you go into the Army to do? What was your job?
Blackhawks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I didn't even know that.
Yep. Blackhawk helicopters.
Whoa. What did you fly them or what did you do?
No, maintenance.
Awesome.
Maintenance. Flight crew on
Wow.
I was in Blackhawks because there's not enough room to be a flight crew in an F-18 with a pilot. But
Yeah. Dude, you worked on Blackhawks? That's incredible.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the movie Black Hawk Down meant a little bit something different to some of us than it did others. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How long did you do that for the second time when you were in the Army?
It was a short one.
Yeah.
It was a little under 2 years.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Cool.
yeah, I'd had enough at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very nice. And then what did you do after that, after you got out of the Army?
I had gone to school to get my airframe and power plant license, which is the license you need to work on aircraft.
Yeah.
And I just did that for the next few decades.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
Mostly corporate, stayed out of the airlines and all that kind of stuff. So just
Yeah. Wait, you did corporate?
it was all private jets,
Oh, okay, cool.
Lear
Yeah,
jets,
yeah.
Challengers, Global Expresses, Gulfstreams, all the good,
Yeah.
all the pretty things.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, so let's talk a little bit about Skoolies for Veterans. So, how did this come about? First of all.
Skoolies for Veterans kind of just created itself in my life. After a few decades in the corporate world, I kind of I snapped,
Yeah.
and I went through a pretty major mental time in my life that I'm still struggling with to come out of.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is I'd been struggling with PTSD for a long time.
Wow.
And just pushed it back, pushed it out. Too busy raising kids, too busy having a family, watching, going through divorces, going through all these,
Yep.
chaos before I finally realized what was going on. But at that point, it was to the point where my job had already put me on short-term disability.
Okay. Yeah.
Things never came back from there.
Yeah.
Lost my career, lost pretty much everything.
Wow.
Ended up floating around on the street and didn't
Yeah.
really have a place to call home for a long time.
Yeah.
I settled into a little vintage RV bumper pull trailer.
Uh-huh.
Did that for a while, and that got took out in a lightning storm.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
And the roof caved in on it, and it was me and my service dog, and I was just kind of looking at the asphalt again and the tarmac, thinking that's going to be home.
Yeah.
And then the one person that was sticking by me the whole time through all this knew I had seen a school bus that was decked out one time.
Yeah.
And I talked about it. And she called me up one day, and she said, I need you to come to Angelo and pick up your bus. She
Wow.
had bought me, It's an old Paint Rock Independent School District. It's their old athletics bus.
Nice. Yeah.
The one that you saw the other day.
Yeah. That's cool.
So to get to answer your question, after getting that and starting to build it out and realizing I was safe and everything was fine and home was just wherever I wanted to be at that point, I had a wicked burning desire to pay it back.
Yeah.
To pay it, not necessarily pay it forward, but pay it back and pay it forward.
Cool.
And so I thought if I started looking at what it took me to build my bus, what it takes to acquire one, and it's really not all that much.
Yeah.
And I thought if I can't pass it, I got to do it for another veteran.
Yeah.
There's another veteran out there that needs the same thing I had, and if I can't do it, I'll burn mine to the ground.
Yeah.
And I was serious about it, and everybody was like, around the 2 or 3 people around me, like, no, calm down. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We'll play your game.
Yeah.
And it just started kind of slowly gaining ground.
Yeah.
Put the thoughts together of what do we do? Well, we'd take a bus, convert it into an RV, transfer the title into where it is a motorhome.
Okay. Yeah.
Tax, title, registered, fill the tank up once it's fully converted, basically, basic converted. No, we're not doing bells and whistles, but basic conversion. Hand that to a veteran who's in need, who's fighting housing.
Yeah, I love that.
It gives them hope. That's what it gave me. It gave me hope because I had already hit that end of the road too many times where there is no hope.
Yeah, wow.
With the battles, and then the hope that it gave me to survive, I just knew it could help somebody else.
That's right.
And so we put the name together in my head, Skoolies for Veterans,
That's
put
good.
it out there, and it's starting
good.
to gain some ground.
Yeah, man, I love that.
So just Skoolies for Veterans. Build a schoolie, give it to a veteran. It's basically what the name is.
Yeah, that's a perfect name. It really is. So what's cool about that is I did a lot of work with homelessness in San Angelo and kind of really got pretty deep into it for a while, and in particular the 14th Street homeless camp. And
you're hitting a nerve, but keep going.
Yeah. And so what I came to find out, and I wrote several articles on this, and I interviewed people that were experiencing homelessness. I interviewed people who were at the top with the Concho Valley Action Community Action Agency and the Homeless Planning Coalition, who were doing things to actually present real solutions.
As I was with you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I was like, this is a problem that can be solved, and other people feel the same way. And what I came to find out was that there are lots of reasons for homelessness, and to me, it's not a circumstance really. It's often a disease of the mind, I call it, and I relate it to addiction because I've gone through that battle. And what it is you said hopelessness. And so what I refer to it as is perpetual hopelessness. It's almost like you get it, and I've been in this state, so this is why I can talk about it. Is you hit this wall to where hopelessness sort of takes over your mindset, and you're caught in what I call a negative thought pattern. And it's like no matter who's throwing solutions at you, it's like hitting a brick wall. They bounce off because you're so defeated.
Not receptive.
Yeah. And you haven't used solution-based thinking in so long that you forget how to use it to do that. And so it's like I was talking to this guy who was experiencing homelessness, and I said, well, he's like, well, yeah, I'm a felon and I can't get a job. And I was with a buddy, and he owns a restaurant. He said, well, 70% of my workers have felonies. And he's like, yeah, and then he's talking about doing being an electrician. And he was like, yeah, but these corporate companies won't hire me. And he goes, most of the guys I hire are little mom and pop, and he kept throwing solutions at him. And he kept saying, no, it's not going to work. No, it's not going to work. And what I started to realize watching that was I related it to addiction just because I've been in a position before where people were throwing solutions at me, and I couldn't use solution-based thinking. I was too caught. I was so hopeless that nothing's going to work. I'm screwed. It's over, Yeah. And so what I love about this is that two things is that one, it's providing a solution to a very prevalent problem, which is homelessness is on the rise. And it's giving people at the very least, a temporary home or a transitional home. And transitional to me is the key word. These programs that they're trying to throw at the problem are trying to pluck somebody out of perpetual homelessness and reintegrate them back into society. And there's no transitional period, and it doesn't work.
Even if there is a transitional period, sometimes it doesn't work.
Why do you think that is?
First, firsthand experience, I can tell you it goes back a lot of times. It goes back to the addiction.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about the homeless situation. They look at it like everybody's out there as a drug addict and a derelict. I walked away from everything with no drug problems, no alcohol problems.
Yeah.
I walked away from everything I had with nothing but my mental issues. And I chose to be part of that community because I felt more accepted there than I did in regular society, because regular society was already looking at me sideways, and they would take their kids and go across the street to the other sidewalk when they'd see me walking and stuff. Because all I could do was, while I was on disability through my first job, I wore 3 or 4 pairs of shoes out walking.
Wow.
All I could do was, because I didn't think I was ever going to get to stay outside long term. I had legal issues and some other stuff. I was facing some pretty heavy stuff. I was like, I'm screwed.
I get that. Yeah.
I got to take advantage of this moment that I'm in, and I got manic about it.
Yeah.
And everybody looked at me like, look how he dresses, white plain T-shirt, jeans. Oh, he must live outside.
Yeah.
And they treated me like that, so I said, screw it. Those are my friends, and that's who I ate lunch with, and that's who I started associating with. And then pretty soon, that's who I walked to when I walked away.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the San Angelo homeless situation, I was part of the Concho Valley Homeless Coalition and all that. Up until the point to where the city manager sat in there and said that their answer was bulldozers. When I had already told them when they had allotted the $200K that the answer's going to be bulldozers, guys, because I've seen this a lot.
Yep.
You start seeing a repetitive arrest for the same people for criminal trespass and all this stuff. And I don't care who hears me say this on your podcast. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem.
Yeah.
I brought to them Skoolies for Veterans.
You did?
Yes, they know about it. I've told them. They asked me how many veterans I thought were on the street, and they told me their number, and I told them their number was skewed so far. Questioning my reasoning on it is because veterans that are outside choose to be out there and are not going to approach you. If they
that's right.
When people start coming up with their list, starting, hey, we want to help, what's your last 4 of your social? When that comes out of their face, you're going to see all the veterans disappear because they're off grid. They don't want to be found.
That's right. Yeah.
I have tried so hard with guys with honorable discharges and everything else just to get them to try to get their basic benefits. And it's a mindset.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the mindset is, you feel weak if you have to ask for help. 2, you feel like you're taken away from somebody else if you receive the help.
Right. Yeah.
It took me 27 years before I even approached the VA.
Are you serious?
Because
of those issues?
It took me 2 divorces and losing my career before I would, in my mind, accept the fact I had a problem.
Yeah.
And I needed to address my former employer over it.
Yeah.
And you'll hear me use that term, my former employer.
Yeah. You'll hear me use that term as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah,
so,
man.
There's so many different reasons why we even have a homeless issue in this town specifically. That's a whole other podcast talking about how the Salvation Army went down and took all this different stuff. And where are they today, Matt? Have you seen any of them standing around on the corners like you used to a month ago?
No. So when I went in there and was really doing some research, what I found, first of all, I wanted to find out what were the contributing factors. And of course, people will point to the number one factor, which is addiction, and they want to be there. But what I found was that there are many reasons. One contributing factor is mental illness, which includes drug addiction. One is economic hardship, which is a big one, especially after COVID.
It's a major one.
Yeah. Another one, though, is I call it they were using it as a go-between. And there were people that just, for whatever reason, lost an apartment, were in between apartments, got kicked out of their house, and they were using the camp sort of like, I'd stay here sometimes. Then I heard them and talked to them saying, oh, yeah, there's this apartment coming up. It's cheap. I'm going to get into this apartment. And so it's kind of a go-between, And then other people, like there was this older lady there. You might even know her. She's been there Rosie. She's been there a long time. And for her, it was like a home. It was her home.
Community. That's her community.
Yeah.
And where's it now? It's gone.
That's right. And so what I kept telling when I was talking to the coalition and the city in particular was that by shutting this down, just because the 10% of San Angelo, the influencers who have the money, who control things really, were pushing for that because it's an eyesore and they don't want it there. All it was going to do is splinter the problem and make it worse. Because where are we going to go? We don't have a solution for that.
That's exactly what I told them when I walked out of the last meeting.
Yeah.
I stood up and I had to interrupt the whole meeting and leave because I couldn't listen to the city manager anymore tell me their plan when all they were going to do is make the situation worse.
That's right. Yep.
And now it's a whole situation that it's going to come back hardcore.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them have to die before we address this situation, which is why I'm even more passionate now about Skoolies for Veterans, because I can't help everybody, but I can help one veteran at a time if I can. So if I can put one veteran in a bus, help him get his benefits, the next thing you know, he's no longer having to live in a camp. He's helping a couple other people even get their stuff together.
Ooh.
And they're over here. He's got a home now. He's got his benefits. Now maybe he's living in an RV park. Cool story, bro, because it's better than it's better than living with snakes and spiders.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody gave him hope. What's he going to do? First thing he's going to do is turn around and try to give that hope back.
Yes.
The last veteran that we've been working with, lots of problems. A lot of organizations won't touch a veteran if they don't have an honorable discharge.
Oh, I see.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is.
Not every veteran is built the same. Not every situation is the same.
Exactly, yeah.
So I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I just want to prove to me that you served.
Yeah.
Okay? Tell me your story. Whether it's true or not, half the stories out there are not true anyway.
Yeah.
I take it with a grain of salt, but I want to help you as the veteran because I'm the veteran.
That's right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I lost track of that. To take and hand that veteran that hope, he in turn is going to pass it on. So the last veteran that I've been working with, and I still am, came into it, found him on the corner.
Yeah.
Found him on the corner right here in town.
Wow.
He was living in camp, had a service dog, had all this stuff. When I came across him, no dog. Where's your dog? A friend of mine's got my dog. And the whole conversation, never met him before. Just something drove me to stop, talk to him, bought him lunch, sat on the corner right here next to the McDonald's over there in front of everybody. He was flying a sign, sat there and had lunch with him.
Yeah.
With the ants.
Yeah.
You know, kept talking about his dog. And I knew that he had placed everything in place because he had no plans on making it through the end of the night.
Wow.
Because I had been there myself.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what I was looking at. So you're coming with me. We're going to get the dog. I threw him in my van. He lived in my van for 3 months. We got him a bus. We're building his bus, right?
Yeah.
We get him housing. The next thing you know, he's trying to help other people.
Yeah.
He's got somebody he's helping here. He's got somebody he's helping here. He's telling me, I got to help pass on this hope because you did it for me. And he's driven by it, you know, and things were going great until the addiction took back over.
Yeah.
And everything, now he's incarcerated again, and we're going to have to restart.
Yeah.
I've adopted a new his service dog. She lives with us. You met her the other day, the Great Dane. And it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And even though his downfall looks like a failure, success is coming out of it.
Exactly, yeah.
We'll be able to still help somebody because we still have acquisition of the bus. We have a bus. It's got the supplies in it. We're building it.
Nice, yeah.
And it will go to a veteran. Now, I don't know if that means street outreach, which is kind of where I'm driven right now, to help because ain't nobody else out there driving around helping these guys out in a bus.
Yeah,
I see it in the big cities. I did it in Dallas with the camp there. Why can't it be done here? It's easy. It just takes someone to do it.
Yeah, that's right. What I don't understand is so the big thing that they were talking about, and Mike Burnett, who's the director of the coalition and the community action agency, he's going to come on and talk about. He keeps saying that there's this big solution that supposedly is going to revolutionize the homelessness problem. Like it's going to be to where San Angelo could be a flagship city to where others follow our lead. And I think what we think it is some form of transitional living, like the tiny home, transitional living. But what I want to know what your thoughts are, if you've ever looked into that, the trend like that Lubbock did and Austin did, to where
we did it. We've done it. We did it in the North Dallas area with shipping containers.
Yeah.
Through Habitat for Humanity.
What's interesting about that is here's what I find interesting. So whenever you lose everything and you're living in a situation like that, there's this psychological pyramid deal by Maslow's hierarchy, and it talks about humans' needs. So on the basic level, like cavemen, essentially, we need shelter, we need food and water, right? Protection. And then the next level is like we need love, we need human relationships, we need affirmation, then the social interaction. Then the next level, we need to be, we need like we're more ambitious. We care about our careers. We favor more independence and separation and privacy, and then the final level of self-actualization, which is you figured it all out, sort of. So what's interesting is you have third tier, which is regular society, which favors more separation, independence, privacy. But then living right next to us in the camp, or people who are experiencing homelessness, are back at the base level.
Like at stage 1.
And
Yes.
at stage 1, what becomes very important again is community. It's so important. Every person I talked to in there talked about how the people they were living with were like family. And I found that very fascinating, because I think that's really what's important in life, are those kind of relationships. And we lose sight of that the farther up we go and as our needs change. And so the cool thing about the transitional living is that we're not just plucking people out of homelessness and putting them back into, we're trying to reintegrate them, but there's that transitional tiny home living to where you take a group of people who are experiencing the same thing, so they still have their community, they create their own rules, regulations, that kind of deal. But you said you saw and experienced it. What do you think of that, the tiny home situation? Because what I like about the Skoolies for Veterans is it's similar to that. In a way, it's similar just because it's providing a solution to those basic needs, which are protection. There's a roof over your head, but you're not living in a community in a sense like the tiny home deal. So, I mean, what do you think? You've seen it.
So on the transitional living, it is a lifesaver for most.
Yeah.
But there's no ownership there.
Oh,
There's always the unknown of the next. This is transitional. What's next? Is it real? Oh my God, is it going to happen? Am I going to go back to step 1?
I did not think of that.
With the Skoolies, with the Skoolie, yes, it can be transitional. It can be forever.
Yeah.
I know retired veterans that are still 10, 20 years living in these things. This is not a new, by any stretch of the imagination, a new thing. It's just thanks to the Grams and the TikToks and stuff, it's popular now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
We have influencers and all that. So now we see these granular builds. You saw the difference between 1 and 2 builds the other day.
Crazy. Yeah. Amazing.
With the Skoolie, there's ownership.
Yeah,
now,
I didn't think about that.
So now the veteran, this is mine.
I like that.
And you can no longer take away my basic, which is nobody can take my bus from me.
Yeah.
I will fight you to the death for it. I'll burn it to the ground before you can have it, but it's mine.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
If
If you tell me I can't be here, dude, I'll kick rocks and go, man. I'll kick a rooster tail and move on to the next place because it's mine.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Dude, I like it.
Ownership.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
And that sets concrete hope.
Yeah.
I lived in my here's how I lived in my bus the first year. I got the bus here. I drove. I own a house here in town. My sister lives in it. Me and my siblings. It's our old family home. I choose not to live indoors. I haven't lived in 4 walls in over 5 years now. Yeah, that's my personal choice.
That. Sure.
But I can get in that bus and I can go anywhere I want. I got the bus. I drove by my old house. My sister's like, all your old crap's in my way. Come get it. Oh Lord. Okay, so I cram all that stuff in my bus. And I drove out to North Texas area on a horse farm. And I sat out there. And I went, what am I going to do? So I cleared a 4x8 spot, same as a sheet of plywood, right? And so I cleaned out a 4x8 spot. That's where I lived. And then I worked that spot, and then I worked the next spot, and I moved all that stuff back and forth inside that bus for the first year until I had created just enough space just for my own, but it didn't matter. Yeah. Because it was still mine. Yeah. Storms were no longer a problem. No one was going to run me off. No one was going to throw me out of my own rental ownership. I wasn't going to lose it to the bank like I did my home. Yes. All these different things that I'd gone through, foreclosure, bankruptcy, divorce, all my life changed, taken away. But you can't take my bus.
That's right.
Can't take my bus. Ownership.
I really, really get it. I was on board, but now I really get it because you like
even
what
with
you
the bumper,
said.
even with the travel trailer and RV. We were able to facilitate a donation of a fifth wheel to a family who just lost their home in a tornado. They had nothing. Yeah. But what they have now, it's not long term, but it's safe.
That's right.
And it's inside. It's theirs. The donors were like, "What do we do with the title?" I said, "You give it to the person that you're giving it to." I don't want, our organization doesn't want your title.
Right.
I want nothing to do with it.
That's right.
You're not giving me the title.
Yeah.
Care less. Give it to them.
Yeah.
Don't care what you do with the title.
That's right.
Don't give it to me, though.
And another thing you said, have you ever seen a school bus with hail damage? I was like, no. Have you ever seen a school bus that's got beat up in a wreck? No.
Not really.
They're pretty durable.
They are durable. See, a school bus is built for safety. It's built to protect your children.
Yeah.
So we put mine holds 59 kids. We put 59 kids in there, right? It's made to hold that and then stack 2 more school buses on top of that, and those kids are still safe underneath.
What do you mean stack 2 more?
The safety design of a school bus is made to hold the weight.
Oh, is it really?
Interesting. It's built like an aircraft fuselage with ribs. It's a fuselage basically.
Yeah.
It's a tube.
Yeah.
But the safety strength that's built in these buses is out of control.
It is. Yeah.
So it's made to keep our kids protect them from anything that could happen, rollovers, everything.
Yeah.
And after watching my roof cave in, where I would have been laying with my dog, that was pretty solid thought in my life, was safety and security at that point. And that was one of the first things I saw, was a guy selling buses, and he was like, "Why a bus? Why a schoolie? You ain't never seen mine's got a hell dent in it about that big around. Probably happened in 1994.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was a bus barn dent. But it's
that's
solid.
Crazy,
it's
dude.
rock solid.
So man, this is cool. So you came up with the name
Skoolies for Veterans.
Yeah,
I didn't come up with the term schoolie.
Yeah, but you came up with Skoolies for Veterans.
Yes,
like this is your deal. We got to grow. This is huge.
I would love to grow it.
Oh man, this is going to be huge. We have to make it huge. So we got to figure out how to get the right organization involved. And so have you thought, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things that has been a struggle with trying to even attempt to do this is nonprofit status. I'm not, as Skoolies for Veterans, not a nonprofit status.
Right.
But I recently have taken the president position of a nonprofit called Operation Got Your Six.
That's right.
And Operation Got Your Six was started a couple of years ago by a young Marine Sergeant, Keith Yenny. And his thought was to get old school buses, convert them into temporary homes, mobile showers, mobile kitchen, mobile hangout places. Same thing we think.
Okay.
Never knew each other, never heard of each other.
Yeah.
Keith didn't make it. He lost his demons, lost a battle to his demons.
Oh, God.
He went on permanent deployment 2 years ago.
Wow.
They've been trying to keep it going. We just kind of cross paths because we have other similar interests for veterans, and started working together. And they were like, "Hey, can we join forces?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't think that's a bad idea. Let's talk about it." And within days, I got a message. Somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, we'd like to donate a bus. Is this something that maybe you could do?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, by the way, where are you?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "New Jersey."
Oh gosh.
And I was like, "Oh wow, well, I'm in Texas. How's this going to work?" Well, the nonprofit's out of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which is right next to New Jersey. And I called up the CEO. This was before I took the president's spot. Like the day before, I called the CEO, and I was like, "So we're working together. This is cool, great. You want a bus?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "No, don't mess around. Don't joke. We've been promised 2 buses before." I was like, "No, it's blue. It's 2003 model. Would you like it?"
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Wow.
And so worked with the other people involved and coordinated it to where that bus was picked up by a heavy tow company, like our local big heavy tow company, transferred across 3 state lines and delivered by that tow company pro bono on them.
Yeah.
And now it's sitting on the property of Operation Got Your Six, and it's starting to be converted.
All right.
So to get back to it, I have combined Skoolies with Veterans with Operation Got Your Six.
Okay,
so
cool.
Operation Got Your Six is the nonprofit, federally recognized, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
501(c)(3).
Cool.
And now we can raise funds through that for Skoolies for Veterans.
Okay.
So
yes. So
that's a start.
Is the best way to go about this, the most practical way to start growing it here in San Angelo? What could be done? What can people do here? Is it donating buses? Is it getting funding? Like, what is it that will move it forward?
If you want to ask me what my thought is, what would help this town right now, there's a bus sitting on the edge of town I've made a deal on. I have not been able to raise funds for. It's 40 foot long. It's a huge, massive motor coach.
Yeah.
It was built for the Department of Justice. I want to put showers in it. I want to put snooze rooms in it. I want to make it to where it's got air conditioned heat, all this stuff, so we can do street outreach for something when nobody here can do street outreach. If I had
What
to
is
find,
street outreach exactly?
going out like you do and going out to the camps, finding them,
Okay. That's
looking
what I
for
thought.
help,
Okay.
pulling up. They know who you are. They'll come to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll be like,
okay.
"Oh man, here's a meal."
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, this guy let me use the internet. This guy let me use a phone."
Yeah.
You know, I want to build a bus that is everything's always going to be veteran directed.
Yeah.
But I want to help everybody that's in that
Absolutely.
community. So I want to be able to pull up to the curb with power.
Okay. Okay.
Have people be able to, if it's freezing outside,
that.
you can warm up.
Dude,
if
this
it's
is
burning up
good.
outside, you can cool off. If you're critical, then go take a nap in my snooze room. That kind of thing. Next
Also,
thing.
what if you had like certain times, like once a week, the bus is going to
Yes.
be here. We have cookout. We have somebody cutting hair. Dude,
Yes.
yes.
And I don't.
Oh,
I
we gotta
won't,
make it happen.
And I'm not going to be to where I don't want you coming and asking for help. I don't care who
Yeah.
you are, what your situation is,
Yeah.
how far off into your addiction are, whatever you need.
Yeah,
if you
that's
need
right.
help, that's what Navigation Day was all about.
That's right.
We would sit there, come through the door.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we went through your last 4 years social, so it
Yeah.
runs half the people off.
Yeah, it
Whatever.
does. Yeah.
So, but I want to be able to pull up to the curb. Also, with that bus, it's got a 15,000. It's got a 15,000 kilowatt generator in it.
Who
Natural.
owns it? Do you know?
It's personally owned here in town. Yes.
You know who owns it?
Yeah. I've made a deal on the bus. I just have not been able to raise the funds. I need $6,500 to buy the bus.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
I'll create. All right, I'm on it, dude. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
And then
All right.
natural disaster, tornadoes, fires. You pull up, I can power a whole block.
6,500.
6,500 buys the bus.
Oh, we're gonna get it. Okay. All right. Cool. We're gonna get you that, dude.
so-
oh my gosh. Yes.
I know that you really enjoyed coming out and looking at the bus and stuff the other day.
Yeah.
So
Dude, are you serious? Man, that's awesome, man. I'm gonna keep it in the studio.
I brought you your own bus.
Dude, thank you.
It's annoying as
I'll
all
keep
get
it
out.
forever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, dude. That's awesome.
You've been schoolied.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it right here, dude, on the desk.
You've been schoolied. So.
Yeah, you've been schooling. Nice. Well, dude, yeah, let's. So I'm gonna create. I mean, with your permission, we'll do it together.
Absolutely.
But we'll release this podcast episode, and with it, we'll create. I'll create a smaller little video with the other footage I got too, and explain what we're trying to do. And I want to go out, if possible, and take pictures of that one that you're trying to get, if they'll let us. You know, the owner, and then we'll create a GoFundMe, however we need to do it. And I bet you we raise it in a week or two.
So also want to mention while we're in here that I'm not in this alone. I don't do this alone.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a group effort. It's
Cool,
me.
yeah.
It's me and my partner Carrie Maris and Ernesto Estrada.
Okay.
He's got the Raiders bus that I took you by to go see.
Yeah.
He's a big part of this as well.
Yeah, okay.
He's the one with the pretty bus.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a picture of the Buffalo real quick, and I think you'll dig it. I hope you'll dig it. I do.
What is it? The Buffalo?
Yeah.
They'll call the bus that?
No, that's what it is.
Oh.
That's one picture of it. It's a 1974 Buffalo that was built for the Department of Justice. One of 20 buses, bus number one of 20 as emergency.
I'll put this on here. Yeah.
What does it say? It's hazardous materials response team, and this one was stationed in Fort Bliss.
Yeah. Nice.
I got
What's
links.
all in that thing?
It's gutted. It's already gutted.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's ready to. It's already had a house built in it, and it's been taken back out, and it's ready to be built on the inside.
Who
again.
has it right now? Are you trying to get it?
Yeah, it's here. That's sitting right, and that's in Grape Creek.
This is the one you're talking about?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the bus
That's
I
the
want to
one.
get. That's the one.
Oh, I didn't know that's what you were saying. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it runs.
Okay.
It's perfect. It's got very low miles on a
Awesome,
1,000,000-mile
man.
engine.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it came down to it, I could run it off Crisco. So pull up behind Burger King and
Yeah.
rob their
Yeah. Yeah.
rob their grease vat from them.
Right.
And keep on going. So,
Yeah. Well, what was I going to add? Oh, yeah. So putting showers in a bus, is that hard to do?
No.
It's not. What do you do? Like,
So they've ordered a shower trailer, and I have yet to hear that it has showed up here, and I don't know how much money was spent on it. And
oh, so there's one.
be mad at me, I don't care, but your trailer still ain't here.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah.
It really is. You can, all these old RVs and stuff that are sitting around that people trash or they take to the wrecking yard have two things underneath them, a gray tank and a black tank. Plus a lot of stuff that you can reuse in them. You can make holding tanks out of anything.
Okay. Yeah. So the plumbing's not a big issue.
The plumbing is not, I have allergies, I apologize. The plumbing is not an issue. You saw a basic bathroom in mine.
Yeah.
That's what's called a composting toilet.
Yeah.
There'll be a shower in there as well, and there'll be a gray tank underneath. It's simple. It's simple builds.
Nice.
It really is.
Yeah.
I could put a set of 4 showers in that bus easily with holding tanks for fresh water, dirty water, all that.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Dude, yeah, we got to get this done. I don't know if I can get this thing out.
Well, you're really working that pretty hard, Matt, but it just twists off.
Oh,
like
it does? That's hilarious. Does it really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Known your whole life, Matt, and you've always been
Yeah.
interesting on how you approach things.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, this is cool. All right, so Skoolies for Veterans. You guys heard it, man. This is something we all need to get behind. We're gonna create a GoFundMe to try to get this bus that's sitting right outside of Grape Creek. They're going to try to convert this thing to do street outreach to help those who are experiencing homelessness. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a veteran or not. This is a project we should all get behind because it won't take much. I mean, if we get this thing going, donating $5 or $10, I'm telling you, we'll raise this in no time, and it'll help so many people with just basic necessities, hygiene necessities, create little events like we're talking about. Man, I really appreciate and I admire the work that you're doing. I think it's incredible, man. I think it gives people hope, and I like that you've been there and you're using your, because this is what my podcast is all about. Is the tagline is extraordinary stories about extraordinary individuals, people. Is so overcoming adversity in some way and making either yourself better for it or others around you or the community. And you've done all three. You're doing all three.
I appreciate
you
that.
and your partners. And tell me their names again. Ernesto
Estrada.
And
Carrie Ramirez.
Carrie Ramirez. Okay. Wonderful.
Or Carrie Wilson, however people know her.
Okay.
But that's the three of us that make up Skoolies for Veterans.
Okay, cool. That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Do you have a beep button? If you
A beep
like
button?
if someone were to say a bad word?
Oh, no, not really.
Okay.
But
Well, I was going to tell you about the veteran support group that I run on Wednesday nights. We
Okay.
do that on Zoom.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
been going on 3
What's it
years.
called?
The Unfuck Club.
The Unfuck Club.
Yep.
Okay, cool. How do people get involved in that if they want to jump on?
Just look it up on Instagram.
Okay.
It's a veteran only group.
Okay, that's fine.
And we don't put a whole lot out there on social media. And we've
Okay.
been going on this. We've just surpassed our 3rd anniversary. We've been up
Very
3
cool.
years strong.
Yeah.
And it's comprised of veterans across the country that pretty much the VA has failed when it comes to mental health. It started with me and a social worker, and we came together. We grouped together a couple of other people and reached out. And like I said, we've got a strong group that we haven't missed a night in 3 years.
Wow.
Holiday or not,
Cool.
we're the base. We're there, and
I
it's
love
just a
it.
place where a veteran can come. There's no big red panic button that the doctor's going to push because the doctor's not in the room. We do have
Yeah.
a clinical social worker in the room with us, and we will come to your house if we have to because we have.
Yeah.
We have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
We help each other out.
Yeah, I like that. Cool.
But the way I like to describe it is we want to create a space to where the veteran can come in and what I like to call emotionally vomit on the floor and just let it all out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what comes out.
That's
just
right,
let
man.
it out because some things just have to be
That's
expelled.
exactly right. Yep.
And we're not allowed to do that in a medicinal, practitioner environment.
Yeah.
You can do that with your buddies.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we create that safe environment for it.
Well,
And
that's
so where
necessary.
you've got your support group, you've got your accountability partners there with you, and
Yep.
you've got someone who's been educated all the way to the end of this that can be like, okay, here's where we are.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's do this, and just want to bring that up.
Cool. Absolutely. All right, guys. This is the Matt Cutrer Report. This was Kelly Self with Skoolies for Veterans. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Don't forget, if you are interested in sponsoring the Matt Cutrer Report podcast or the San Angelo Soup, we are taking sponsors, and we'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
What's